first alien encounter with humanity's Titan-class warship terror replaced diplomacy. Ambassador Zefka of the Valerian Consortium had seen many vessels in his 3 centuries of diplomatic service. Sleek Arcturian cruisers with their crystalline hulls, the biomechanical monstrosities of the Hive Collective, even the ancient stone ships of the Eternal Keepers. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for what now dominated his viewport, the human vessel. Indomitable, hung in space like a metallic mountain, its dark hull stretching over 2 kilometers from bow to stern. Weapon ports dotted its surface like the eyes of some primordial beast, and massive engine arrays glowed with an ominous blue light that seemed to drink in the surrounding starlight. The ship didn't just occupy space, it commanded it. "By the 7 moons," whispered his tactical officer, Jexelin, her 4 eyes wide with disbelief. "The energy readings are—" "They're off our scales, Ambassador. That thing could glass an entire planet." Zefka's tentacles trembled slightly as he reviewed the first contact protocols on his datapad. The Consortium had detected humanity's rapid expansion into space just 50 years ago. These newcomers had gone from primitive chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in mere decades of feet that had taken most species millennia. The Galactic Council had deemed them of moderate interest and assigned the Consortium to make first contact. They had expected to find a species, perhaps slightly more advanced than when they'd first been observed. Instead, they'd stumbled upon THIS, this monument to warfare. "Incoming transmission," reported Communications Officer Velta, her voice barely steady. It's in perfect galactic standard." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a human male with graying hair and steel blue eyes. He wore a dark uniform adorned with insignia that somehow managed to look both elegant and intimidating. Behind him, Zefka could see other humans, moving with practiced efficiency across what appeared to be a command center larger than most space stations. "This is Fleet Admiral Marcus Chun of the Terran Defense Force vessel Indomitable," the human said, his voice carrying an authority that made Zefka's diplomatic training feel suddenly inadequate. "You've been scanning our ship for the past 47 minutes. State your intentions." Zefka quickly activated his own transmission, drawing upon decades of diplomatic experience. "Greetings, Admiral Chun. I am Ambassador Zefka of the Valerian Consortium, representing the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking to establish diplomatic relations with your species." Admiral Chun's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes suggested he was evaluating far more than just Zefka's words. "The Galactic Council. Yes, we're aware of your organization. We've been monitoring your communications for some time now." The casual admission sent a chill through the Valerian bridge crew. Humanity had been watching them? How long? How much did they know? "Admiral," Zefka continued, fighting to maintain his composure, "perhaps we could arrange a more formal meeting. Our respective governments could benefit greatly from—" "Ambassador," Chun interrupted smoothly, "before we discuss diplomacy, I think there's something you should understand about humanity." He paused, and for a moment, his professional mask slipped, revealing something that might have been amusement or perhaps pity. "We don't build ships like the Indomitable because we want to. We build them because we have to." The screen shifted to display tactical data that made Jexelin gasp. Star maps showing human territory, not as the small cluster of systems they'd expected, but as a vast network spanning dozens of sectors. Defense installations that dwarf anything in Consortium. Space. Fleet compositions that suggested humanity had been preparing for war on a galactic scale. "You see, Ambassador, we've been listening to your communications for quite some time. We know about the Devourers." Zefka's blood turned to ice. The Devourers, the ancient menace that had consumed entire civilizations at the galaxy's edge, slowly working their way inward. The Council had spent centuries trying to develop defenses to prepare for their inevitable arrival. But humanity had only been spacefaring for decades. How could they possibly ... "We've run the calculations," Chun continued, his voice taking on a grim tone. Current Galactic Council defensive capabilities give you perhaps 50 years before. The Devourers reach core systems. Consortium territory, maybe 20. The tactical display shifted again, showing projections that confirm humanity's assessment with terrifying accuracy. But then new data appeared: human defensive lines, weapon platforms, and fleets positioned not around Earth or human colonies, but at strategic choke points throughout the galaxy. The Indomitable and her sister ships aren't just weapons, Ambassador. They're the shield that's going to stand between the Devourers and every living being in this galaxy. Human, Valerian, Arcturian, it doesn't matter. When they come, we'll be ready. Zefka stared at the data, his mind reeling. Humanity hadn't just developed advanced technology. They'd looked at the greatest threat, facing galactic civilization, and decided to make it their responsibility to stop it. The sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. But Admiral, he managed, surely such a task requires the combined efforts of all galactic civilizations? The Council could coordinate. Chin's laugh was short and humorless. The Council has had centuries to prepare, Ambassador. They've built committees, drafted treaties, and held endless debates while the Devourers consumed world after world. We've been spacefaring for 50 years, and we've already deployed more effective countermeasures than the rest of the galaxy combined. The human leaned forward slightly, and Zefka suddenly understood why other species might find humans terrifying. It wasn't just their technology or their military might, it was their absolute, unshakable conviction that they could face the impossible and win. So here's what's going to happen, Chun said. You're going to return to your council and tell them that humanity is ready to share our defensive technologies and tactical knowledge. In return, we want full access to galactic shipping lanes, industrial resources, and complete strategic coordination. The Devourers are coming, whether we're ready or not. The only question is whether the galaxy faces them united or divided. As the transmission ended, Zefka sat in stunned silence. He'd come expecting to encounter a primitive species that might prove useful to the Consortium. Instead, he'd found humanity's answer to the galaxy's greatest nightmare: not just survival, but protection for everyone else as well. The Indomitable began to turn, its massive bulk moving with surprising grace as it prepared to return to whatever defensive line it had been patrolling. As it departed, its message was clear. Humanity had looked into the abyss and decided to build a wall. Diplomacy, Zefka realized, had been replaced by something far more valuable: hope.